What's that website?
ForBassPlayersOnly.com. Don't miss it.
Michael Manring, don't miss him.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Jon Liebman here. You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com, and today we are with, once again, Michael Manring, the one, the only Michael Manring, kind of an unconventional bass player, very unique and very compelling, and his music is very interesting, his whole approach. And where we left off last time, you told us about your whole musical upbringing, the whole wonderful experience you had during the Windham Hill years, and some of your releases, and then you were embarking, or you were going to cultivate a little more deeply your solo career. So I think it's been a few years. Bring us up to date on what's been happening.
Yeah, the solo thing really is my main focus these days, and I do a good bit of touring year-round, in and out, going places, and about 75% is solo. And I like it that way. I still like playing the bass.
But solo, you mean all by yourself?
Completely just solo being a bass and no backing tracks. No nothing, doing it the hard way, but enjoying it. And but I still do some band stuff and kind of an odd mix of different kinds of music people will call me for. And I do a lot of recording. I do a lot of session work for people.
I think that would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, probably does, but I've been on hundreds of records at this point. And it's nothing mainstream. I never do the pop stuff. I mean, I've done a few pop records, but they weren't big label records or anything like that.
When you do these sessions, you're not the conventional four-string standard tuning bassist. You are Michael Manring, whether you're doing your solo or whether you're doing your sessions. Is that right?
They pretty much always hire me to do kind of something unusual. It's very rare that I get hired to do sort of a generic bass part. People hire me to do something different, but it's really all over the map. Very often it's a very simple part. It can be a melodic part. Some people want me to do just crazy stuff, crazier stuff than I would even think to do myself. It's not unusual for me to get hired for a session and to give them what I think is a functional bass part. And they'll say, well, that's great, but we want you to do something really crazy. And then I'll do something crazy, and they say, even crazier. And I'll try to do something crazy enough for them. But it's fun, and it's a really odd mix of music that I get involved with. It's a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, a lot of acoustic fingerstyle guitar players, a good bit of new age stuff, and then a good bit of like heavy music, like classical metal stuff, and some fusion.
Yeah, when I hear Michael Manring, I think
right.
Technical metal.
That's
I think
right.
most people do.
Now, I've played on some really cool records, doing that kind of stuff, and a lot of avant-garde music, like way out there, contemporary music.
Not really my thing, but
yeah, no, it's fun.
Speaking of records, I understand you have a new one in the works.
I do.
Tell us about that.
Kind of always working on the new thing, but I'm getting close on this one. I've got, I think, all the music composed, and I've got several versions of things recorded, some of which I'm making. And I'm just kind of holding on to it. Most of it I'm not playing out live, because I'm just kind of holding on to it until I'm sure. We have all this new compositions they've been working on the last few years.
And how would this new one compare to your previous releases?
It'd be similar to the last one. It'd be similar to Soliloquy. It'd be all solo bass and kind of a variety of different colors, and just working with these different ideas I've had over the years. A couple kind of big new ideas that I'm kind of keeping under wraps because I don't really know how well it's going to work out. But hopefully it'll all work out, and it's a lot of stuff I'm really excited about.
Well, we will look forward to seeing that and hearing it and promoting it certainly on ForBassPlayersOnly.com.
Make sure you get the first copy that comes out.
Well, thank you. Now, your approach is, I keep using the word unconventional, but you were talking in the clinic at Bass Player Live about, you said some pretty heavy things, like music is not language, language is music. What did you mean by that?
It's kind of hard to explain, but I think of the two things, of language and music, I think music is more basic, it's more primal to who we are. I think as creatures, we probably made something more like music first, and then language distilled out of that.
Mel Brooks can prove that. Did you see
There you
the
go.
History of the World
That's
Part
perfect.
1 when the guy
Exactly.
dropped the rock on the other guy's foot? And he went,
Yeah,
"Oh, oh."
yeah, exactly. I mean, it probably was not. That's probably not far from what happened. So yeah, I think of the two, I think language is actually. I mean, it's hard to talk about this stuff without getting really far out there, but I think language is probably a better representation of reality than, or music is probably a better representation of reality than language is. Because there's all these traps that language gets us into with the specificity of it. And, you know, reality doesn't really conform to those things as well as we would like it to. So much of our thinking is formed by the structures of language. And that it frees us in some ways and limits us in others. And if you can kind of allow your thinking to be formed by the structures of music, I think it offers a really interesting perspective on life.
Very interesting stuff to ponder. So tell me about the equipment you use. I know you've always liked Zon basses, and I always see you with Mark bass amplification and all your pedals that give you the unique sound that you have. Tell me about your equipment.
Well, I love the Zon basses. I mean, they're just absolutely amazing, and I think Joe's just brilliant. I mean, I honestly couldn't do what I do without Joe's help, so I can't say enough good things about Zon. And I've been using them for all these years, and will continue to use them as long as I can. And I really love Mark bass, too. They're an amazing company, but they do so many different kinds of things. I have some of the PA gear they make, in addition to the bass amps. I mean, the bass amps are just amazing, just ridiculously amazing. Really practical and do lots of things. But the PA gear is also amazing. I use that often. They use their DIs and their different kinds of heads they make. It's just a great company.
Is there anything that you'd like to do that you haven't already accomplished other than, you know, if I say more of the same, I don't mean that in a negative light, because obviously people like it, I like it, we like it, but is there anything, you know, far removed from your thing, or an expansion, or maybe even something unrelated that you've always wanted to do that you haven't gotten around to yet?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, and it's probably something that's never occurred to me. I say that because there's been several times when somebody's called me up and asked me to do a project that I think, you know, I have no understanding of what it is and why they're calling me to do it, and then I do it and just really get so much out of it that, you know, it becomes a really important experience to me. So I think there's more of those out there. So I'm kind of hoping that more people will call me and ask me to do something that sounds completely crazy to me.
Well, you know what? I hope so too. And we'll look forward to it, whatever it is, even if it's more of the same, which is fine with us. Let's not wait so long to catch up before our next interview, because there's always lots of interesting stuff coming from you. Michael Manring, thank you very much. It was great catching up. I'm Jon Liebman. You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com.